So let's go right into the practice this morning. I'm going to guide us a little bit, just say some words as we're sitting. And as always, if the words are helpful, that's wonderful. And feel free to just sit, if you have some sense of what's directing you this morning or guiding you. So let's begin with the awareness of the body, which sounds like a simple instruction, but which really is anything but. Um, some of us might feel on this morning that we feel kind of locked off from our body, or that it feels inaccessible. Or maybe for others of us, we're really, really feeling a lot of emotion, and grief, and whatever else is arising in the body. But however it is for each of us, let's begin with just the places where the body's touching the earth, right? Directly or indirectly. So the rear end on the chair, and the feet on the ground, the soles of the feet on the ground. It's a nice reminder in times of tumult. It's kind of a wonderful thing to remember. We can put our feet on the ground. And give some attention to the spine. Give some attention to maybe where your hands are, the hands. One thing to try is to place the left hand inside the right hand and have the thumbs gently touching. And that can also be a focal point when we sit too, right? It can be a helpful focal point, a place to bring our attention to. Jose Saramago writes that it's dark in the body, but the blood knows where to flow. So some sense of trust in this vessel that we're inhabiting, this imperfect, perfect vessel, sitting in the midst of this life on this morning. Maybe in both senses of that word. But still, here we are. Now we can turn towards the breath. It's sort of amazing to think about that we took one breath at the beginning of our lives, and since then we've been breathing. And we'll keep breathing until we won't, until we don't anymore. But here is the breath, whether we've been aware of it or not. We were breathing all through last night, really without interruption. Norman Fisher, who many of you know, was just here at Bard for 2 days, which was really lovely to sit together again and to hear some of his teachings on the breath and the body and on continuous practice. The breath is continuous practice. It's one way of thinking about it, that we're practicing all the time, whether we're aware of it or not. We're doing breath practice. And it's similar with the sense of whatever we would call spiritual practice, Mussar practice. In some sense, we're practicing all the time, maybe more or less skillfully, maybe with more or less awareness. But that's the idea behind continuous practice. Sort of a paradox because it's something we're trying to become aware of, and yet it's always happening, whether we're aware or not. In the Jewish tradition, it's saying that Shefa, abundance, is always flowing down to us, whether we're aware of that or not. But when we're aware, there's a sweetening. There's something that's a little sweeter. So, what does continuous practice look like this morning? What is it to feel animated by the breath? We're going to have, we've just been in a sea, right, of narratives and words. And now we'll have another sea of narratives and words and blaming and making sense of and finding meaning in and strategizing. And I won't say all of that is important, but some of it is important, no doubt. And all of it is very natural. But maybe this morning, in this space of sitting and being together, we're kind of letting the narratives rest for a moment. Just returning to the breath. This over and over. That's maybe the Jewish version also of continuous practice is we just call it teshuva. That's how Norman framed it. Return. We're just constantly, right? We're working with the body and the breath, and then our thoughts bring us somewhere. Our feelings bring us somewhere. And we feel them or we think them. And then we do teshuva. We just gently return when we're ready. Whatever comes next, I do know, I guess if so much can feel uncertain, right, in our times, I feel like if I do have something that approaches certainty, it's that this practice is important, that we need it and it needs us. So part of the body awareness when we sit and we're aware of the body, we're aware of one another because there's a felt sense of other presences, even over Zoom. Maybe there's other people in your house this morning. But whether there are or not, our uh, our awareness is sort of behind the eyelids and also outward, right? Expanding outward. So we're aware of each other's presence. We're practicing together. Our practice depends on one another. So whatever comes, this is real. We can trust, I think, this place of abiding. And we know that it will be helpful in coming to clarity, coming to understand what our what our work is in this time. So the breath, the body, continuous practice, unending. And if it's helpful, while we sit, I guess really in some sense, the only instruction or invitation that I would raise is to not try to to gut it out just to get through the time allotted, but to really be curious about this moment as it is, and we feel the pull towards distraction, we feel the pull towards judgment, we feel all very natural and even necessary. But in this time right now, as much as we're able, we're really just having this intention to be with ourselves and one another in this life as it is right now. May we see what we're ready to see. May we know what we're ready to know. May we be as we are. May we be real. That's the soul food. The soul wants what's real. So what's real right now in our direct experience? And just knowing whatever arises, there's room for it here. Clarity, lack of clarity, sadness, tears, an odd kind of sense of possibility, fear, love, whatever it is, it's welcome here. There's no part of you that's not welcome here. So all we can do is begin from that place of belonging, kind of belonging to ourselves. So we'll sit quietly for about 15 minutes. Hareini mekabel alai et mitzvat haboe ve'ahavta l'reaha kamocha uvizchut ze eftach pi. Behold, may we be ready to take upon ourselves unceasingly the mitzvah of loving our fellow human being as ourselves. And by this merit, may we open our mouths and move into this day. Take care, everybody. Move slow. Move slow with much gratitude to each of you. See you soon.